What do you say we solve a less than inequality? We just did a greater than. Now we're going to do a less than, and I'm going to do both of these on the calculator. So you may want to jot these equations or these inequalities down. But I want to flip this around, and I'm going to substitute y for 0. And so then I would say that this one is y is less than x squared minus 6x plus 2. And remember, my solution set is going to look something like this: x such that, and then I'm going to have my constraints: less than, greater than. This is an and statement, is an or statement, whatever, finished off by a bracket. Now, in this one, I'm also going to sort of swap this around and also substitute y for 0 so that y is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 4x squared, plus 5x plus 7. All right, now we're going to find that our zeros are, I think, irrational numbers, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to use the 0 function to do that. And one of the reasons why I flipped that around, I want to make sure I got my inequality entered correctly. That I don't enter a greater than when I should have a less than, or vice versa. So why don't we move to the calculator? We're going to graph these. We're going to let the calculator determine what our solution set, where our region is, but then we're going to find the zeros. In other words, what is the x-intercept? Ready? Does it matter if you are? No, not really. We're going to do it anyway. All right, well, here we are. Let's see. Let's go in here to y equal. And I need to get my inequality. Well, first I need to clear out what I got. I'll move it over there. I hit clear. And I want y is less than. And right now it's at a greater than. I'm going to move this to less than. Means I'm going to have a dashed boundary line. And let's get our inequality statement in here, which was x squared minus 6x plus 2. Let's take a look and see what our graph looks like. Okay, so I got an or statement here, obviously. Now, if I'm looking at this, my zeros are not on one of the little hash marks or grid lines, but I can find what those are with my graphing calculator by hitting second, trace or calc, and choosing option 2, 0. And I want to move that cursor to where it is just above the x-axis. I'm going to move it back one. And left bound, yes. I'm going to hit enter. And now I'm going to move it to where it's just below the x-axis. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to hit enter. Guess, yes. And it says that when y is 0, x is equal to 0.3542487. And so really part of my solution then would be, and let's round that to the nearest hundredth, that y must be less than 0.35. Now I got another 0 here, so I need to hit second 0 again. Second trace, option 2, 0. And this time I'm going to move my cursor, and it's just going to follow along the boundary line. You notice that boundary line's dashed, because remember this was a less than inequality. And I'm going to get just below the x-axis. My left bound, I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to move it to where it's just above the x-axis. And I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to ask me if I want to guess. And I say, why not? And here it says that when y is 0, x is 5.6457513. And I don't know how far that goes out. So the other portion, or my solution, is x must be greater than 5.65. We can see that from the shading. So my solution would be I'd have a brace x, straight line, meaning x less, such that x is less than 0.35 or x is greater than 5.65. Now let's graph that second equation we had. We'll do the same thing. It'll just give us a little bit of practice. And this time, y must be less than or equal to. So again, I'm going to highlight that entire region. And I'm going to go from just a less than to a, well, let's go the other way. Less than or equal to. And this is going to give me a solid line boundary. And let's clear that equation. And we had y was less than negative 4x squared plus 5x. I'm not sure what I'll be able to see on this graph. Plus 7. I thought it was plus 17. Plus 7. Negative 4x squared plus, okay, let's see what our graph looks like. All right. So now what have we got? Well, it's going to be in between this. It's going to be an and statement. Again, I can't exactly see where my zeros are, but I know it's going to be an and statement, not an or statement. But I can find my zeros doing it the same way. I'm going to go second trace. I'm going to choose option 2. I want to find the 0. I'm going to move this. I want to move this to just below the x-axis. I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to go right bound, go just above the x-axis. I'm going to hit enter. We're going to say guess. Yes, we do want to guess. And when y is 0, x is negative 0.0838, or let's say negative 0.84. And so x must be greater than, because there's my solution set in the middle, this negative 0.84. And I got to figure out the second 0, but it's going to be an and statement. So let's go back to second. We're going to choose 0. I'm going to move my cursor. It's going to follow the boundary. Notice it's a solid line because this was a less than or equal to. And I want to get it just above the x-axis. Back up 1. I'm going to hit enter. And now we're going just below the x-axis. I think that looks pretty good. We're going to hit enter. Yes. And when y is 0, x is also 2.880875, or let's just say 2.89. So my solution set is, then in this case, that x such that x is greater than or equal to negative 0.84, and it's less than or equal to 2.09. Now, understanding how to use your calculator is very beneficial. Take advantage of it.